All right, I want to have a bit of an honest conversation here tonight. And I want to talk in particular to my productive black males, my intelligent black males, my black male nerds, socially awkward, you're good dudes, you are redeemable, you are socially conscious, you're upstanding citizens. But there's some realities that you may not be willing to accept. And I want to talk about that tonight because a great case study is really when you take a look at Ciara and Russell Wilson. Now, first and foremost, why is this important now? Because during the Super Bowl, and you know I don't cover Super Bowls, I give no damns about that. But you've had some folks who've been trying to dispute what I've been saying now for years. I predicted Kim and Kanye. I predicted exactly what it would be. While other folks were saying they wouldn't stick together, they weren't saying what it was for. So don't try to pretend you understood. You didn't. I predicted what it was and why it would be. And with Russell and Ciara, I predicted what it was and why it would be. And sure enough, on Super Bowl Sunday, Drake was holding a party. There were a bunch of celebrities there. I mean, Lizzo was there, so I'm like, okay, that throws the energy off. But anyway, there were celebrities there. In particular, there was Russell and Ciara there. And out of nowhere, Drake decides he wants to bring out a surprise guest. Now, I don't know if this party was by invitation. I don't know if this party was, letting people know who would be there beforehand. But apparently, Russell and Ciara were unaware that this was going to happen because as soon as it occurred, and it's been on TMZ and everywhere else here, as soon as Future comes out, all of a sudden Ciara and Russell start making for the exits. Now, this isn't a good look for Ciara, of all people. And I'm going to bring this home to everybody else here and what it means for your personal lives. Because this is not about celebrities. This is a life lesson that I want you to learn and want you to understand. Before we get into that, I want to make sure that everybody here, if you've shown up here, and I know I didn't give a lot of advance notice, I've been doing a little bit more posting than usual here. Got some moves happening and some things going on, but go ahead and hit my likes for me. If you're sitting here tonight, you know YouTube is going to hate. So go ahead and hit my likes for me. Go ahead and hit my likes for me. So what I want to do here is I want to explain to you that there's some life lessons here. I want to explain that there are some life lessons. And in particular, one of the life lessons I want you to understand to my fellas out there is I want you to understand when she's giving you signals that she's still for the streets. Now, if you're a guy who's been socially awkward, if you're a fella who doesn't have a lot of experience with women, and there are a lot of guys, they are doctors, they are lawyers, they are engineers, they are professionals, they're professional athletes. Some of the most awkward dudes you've ever met in your life are professional athletes. Some of the guys who are least able to navigate with females are professional athletes. Why? Because just like beautiful females, they've had so much given to them and handed to them. So they never actually had to earn it. They never actually had to get out here and learn how to communicate. They've simply had a skill set that attracted people to them. But they haven't been able to actually learn how to navigate and communicate on their own and develop a personality that people would want to be around. In the chat room, can I explain the appeal of Ciara and women in general? We're going to get to that. 720 degrees. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Now, first you need to understand about Ciara. And I've been saying since day one, while the red pill has been listening to their phony gurus tell them that this was real, I've been saying since day one, no, it's not. She's getting in where she fits in because this was the last train leaving and she found the world's last remaining productive, gullible simp. And she's grabbed him. Now there's word that he wants to leave Seattle or whatever. I'm sure she's behind that. And so with that being the case, by the way, all your phony gurus don't want to explain this now. Notice they got real quiet all of a sudden. Now all of a sudden what they were saying before, they don't want to stand behind it anymore. Okay, go ahead and keep listening to people who don't know anything. Go ahead. Bobblehead dolls. In any case, as I've been saying the whole time, this was what it was. Because in the back of her mind, she knows where she wants to be. And this can be a hard-ass lesson for my noble nerds out there, for my generous geeks, for my honorable awkwards. This can be a very difficult thing for you to accept because you're kind of like the fat girls. Can we just be totally honest? A lot of you are like the overweight fat chicks. You're telling yourself, well, man, I should get credit for my personality. I should get credit for that. Why is it that that doesn't trump everything? And the thing that you need to understand is that when all things are equal, there's got to be a tiebreaker. There's got to be something's got to break the tie. And when it comes to attraction, let's be very, very clear. I want to go ahead and give you a brief reminder here. This is involuntary. If you are a male, this is involuntary. This isn't something you have to think about. If a female has an attractive build on her, an attractive look, you can't see her personality, but the point is, this is involuntary. You don't get to sit there and say, wait, I get to choose how or if I respond. No, you don't. You are going to have a psychological, emotional reaction no matter what. Now, that doesn't mean that you roll around on the floor and it's like, oh, baby, I sure will let it. Some dudes do that. It doesn't mean that. But my point is, if you see something that you like, you don't have a choice in the matter. You don't have a vote in the matter. If you see something that you like, attraction is involuntary. So this idea that you are going to be able to bully or dictate people into attraction, that's not the way it works. So just understand, for females, it's the same thing. If all they have to judge on, if all the other things are equal, they're going to go for, well, is he tall? Is he handsome? They're going to go for alpha male physical cues. It's involuntary. And that never goes away. Even if it screws her up, even if it messes up her finances, even if she messes around and becomes a bastard baby maker, even if everything else goes off the rails, attraction is an involuntary thing. Now, what you hope to get to is a point of attachment, not attraction, but attraction is involuntary. And the bottom line is, like it or lump it, there are things that are cues of attraction. Let me give you some basics. I chose these pictures of Russell Wilson and Ciara versus Russell Wilson and Future so that you can have a very clear parallel that she spends a long time now trying to dress up doll Russell Wilson, trying to turn him into a dude who's got a little edge and a little street to him because she's not genuinely attracted to him because he's lacking several of the cues, several of the things that females like. First and foremost, starting with confidence. Now, you call it swag, really short for swagger, but Future has a swagger about him. When a guy comes walking in the room a certain way, that's involuntary. It's like it doesn't even matter how he's dressed. He's communicating that for some reason he thinks there's something important about himself. There's a certain swagger to him. Russell Wilson has zero swagger. This man does not look comfortable in his own skin. He is a competent athlete. He's not a superior athlete, but he's a competent athlete. However, socially, he's a dud. He doesn't look at all comfortable in his own skin. He looks like the tag-along little brother who is still trying to figure out how to fit in. But he doesn't strike anybody as being confident and comfortable in his own skin. And at the end of the day, that's a turnoff to females. Notorious Biggie, he was fat. He wasn't the most attractive dude, but he let you know, hey, my swagger is on 1,000. I'm completely comfortable in my skin. Rick Ross. I mean, we're talking about a dude grossly overweight who routinely does his shows shirtless. That should be obscene exposure. That should be indecent exposure. But, I mean, he's done magazine covers, interviews, whole concerts with his shirt off. Looking like a stack of disorganized baloney, but he's comfortable in his skin. Now, when Lizzo tries it, it doesn't have the same effect. But where men are concerned, we can get away with that. Because confidence in a man is an attractive thing. Inversely, lack of confidence is a repellent. In Russell's case, what he's got going for him is, well, Super Bowl, I'm in the NFL. You know, I'm relevant. I am a player. I'm actually in the game. YouTube's trying to keep my likes down. Everybody, go ahead and hit the likes for me. YouTube's trying to hold us down. Don't give up on it now. I know you're soaking up the game. If you're loving it, go ahead and hit the likes for me. To the fellas who are listening to me right now, I'm sorry, not to the fellas, to the females, to the ladies listening to me right now, to the ladies. How many of the females in this chat room right now, you have dated a guy who was making $30,000 a year. He was driving a 12-year-old car, and you were feeling him simply based off of his confidence. Dudes don't like it when you say that based off of swag. If you are a female and I'm telling the truth, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Hit the thumbs up in the chat. If you are a female and you are identifying what I'm saying, yeah, fellas didn't like him because, oh, he's a bum, he's an underachiever, this, that, and the other. He doesn't have the same, intellectual confirmation that I have. Take a look at me. I've got, personality and character, and I'm socially redeeming, and I'm an upstanding citizen. Yeah, but you're uncomfortable in your own skin. Take a look at the chat room, fellas. It is what it is. It is what it is. You can say whatever you want to, but these are definites. You can't negotiate it. You can't arbitrate it. These are genuine cues of attraction. These are genuine cues of attraction. Nobody wants to be with a wet blanket. And they will accept Russell because he is relevant in sports. But outside of that, there isn't anything that actually genuinely attracts. That's the problem. And there are a lot of you fellas who are listening right now, and you're mad as hell, and you've gone red pill and black pill and doom pill and every damn thing else. You're incel and red cell and sleeper cell and jail cell because you refuse to accept that your mama's lied to you. There are a bunch of you fellas in here. Your mothers lied to you. There are a bunch of females out here, and they are refusing to accept. They think they're princesses because their mama told them that, or worse, maybe even their daddy told them that, so they figure, well, dad's a male, so he represents the male population in general. No, actually, he does not. Your father is obligated to tell you that. The male population is going to let you know, oh, you're no princess. Well, guess what, fellas? Your mama might have told you you're a really swell guy and all the girls would be lucky to have you. Mama was lying. Mama was lying. She does not represent the female population at all. Mama doesn't represent them. For those of you who heard my first Dark Arts of Game on Patreon, when I explained that, the females The first female who lied to you was your mother. If you're a man, the first female who deceived you would be your mom, because she's going to tell you what she thinks serves females. She's not really going to give you what's necessary to allow you to assert dominance. Now, there are a few mothers who do that. There are a few. And there are a very, very, very select few who are actually competent to be able to talk to their sons in that way. But the overwhelming majority, 99.9%, either don't want to or don't know how, or both. So, fellas, you can be mad and angry and upset about it, but the bottom line is those are physical realities. Now, men tend to accept this when it comes to height, and they're like, okay, if I'm 5'2", I'm going to be struggling, because you're thinking of yourself in physical reference to other men, so that's something you can wrap your head around. But the bottom line is, a man of a certain height is going to strike a woman physically the same way as a female of a certain build is going to strike a man physically. It's not something she has to think about. It is a biological thing. It's not something that she has to sit here and consciously do. It is completely unconscious, subconscious. It's reflexive. And that's where you get here to Future. Now, Future is not a short guy. Anybody who's actually seen him, Future is not a short guy. So his presence, strictly speaking on presence alone. Remember, this is not taking into account his personality, his past actions, his behavior. Strictly speaking, physically, Future's not a short guy. So let's be clear about that. This ain't no little short dude like that. Now, he ain't big and stocky, but he's not a short fella. So right there, he's going to be having a situation where it asserts to females differently. Right there, right off the bat, it's going to assert to females differently. And you might be saying to yourselves, well, it's not right, and it's not fair, and it's not this, and it's not that, and it's so on and so forth. Okay, you can say that, but at the end of the day, that doesn't change the reality. It doesn't change the reality at the end of the day. It doesn't. So, like it or not, it is what it is. And when you have a situation where you can have the money and the swag and this, that, and the other, that's going to resonate to you. That is going to resonate to you. If you all go take a look at pictures of Future and Ciara together, you can actually see that he is significantly taller than Ciara is. He's significantly taller. So right there off the bat, that's what I'm saying. It's not really something she has to think over or has to bounce around in her head. It doesn't really require that. Inversely, where Russell is concerned, not so much, because the media has been real generous with him in a lot of regards. But technically speaking, not so much. And that's not to say anything bad about him per se, but what it is to say is, yeah, that's going to make a difference. That is going to make a difference. If nothing else, it makes a difference in between his ears. If nothing else, it makes a difference in between his ears. He feels that. He feels that. I want to give you a case in point here, because I want this to drill home to you when we talk about why is it that she can't let go. And I want you guys to think about this in your daily lives so that you have a point of reference. When you sit up here and ask, why is it that she is still holding a candle for this guy to the point that she shows up at a party and he shows up and she's got to flee? There's a reason for that. Side-by-side comparison. Just for height. Russell Wilson, Ciara. Side-by-side comparison. You can take a look at Future with Ciara, and then take a look at Russell Wilson with Ciara. Direct comparison. direct comparison. What I'm saying is that's a physical experience. Yeah, I know a lot of you have never actually seen pictures like this before. But by the way, there's a head-to-toe picture of of Future and Ciara, head to toe. Because in other pictures, Future is kind of leaning over a little bit, and it makes their height look similar because he knows you have to do that for cameras. But by the way, take a look at the eye level. Take a look at the eye level on Russell and Ciara, then take a look at the eye level on Future and Ciara. What I'm telling you is, gentlemen, this is involuntary. This is involuntary. And remember, Russell Wilson is a professional athlete. He's a quarterback in the NFL. He's a pro athlete. So he's not a scrawny dude. But what I'm saying is, Ciara has never literally looked up to him. She has literally looked up to Future. So if anybody wants a literal visual aid of exactly, well, what is it she sees in him? What is it these other females see in him? By the way, Future ain't no little dude like that. He ain't no little dude. Now, to all my nerds out there and everything, by the way, like I say, just keep in mind here, that's not always going to be a deal. That's not always going to be a game changer, but you just need to be aware that it's a real thing. It's not in your head. It's real. So women tell themselves lies about the men that they're with, and if he can prevent himself from spoiling the fantasies, she'll sit there until something comes along that spoils it. But how do you know that she hasn't let go? And thank you to everybody who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, and in the Super Chat. So I see you there, Dread Lion and Chris King and everybody else. So thank you very much for your support here. We appreciate that. Why is it that this occurred? Why is it that happened? Why is it with all those warning signs? I want to give you a very stark example. Now, if you've been to TMZ, what you saw was a video of Drake and Future running around the stage, and they wanted to get to the video where you see Russell and Ciara very quickly running off to get in their car to leave when Future got on stage. But what I want to do is I want to show you something different. There is another video, and it's on YouTube, but there's another video out there, and it shows things a little bit differently. Now, you know I'm all about attribution here, so this is it's on the YouTube channel of Too Cool to Blog, the number 2 cool to, the number 2 cool, the number 2 blog. So Too Cool to Blog, that's where this video is from. And you can see here, as it's showing here, that they were having their little after party and things. Okay, that's cool. That's great. I want to play something for you, and I want you all to understand, if you have any doubts, misgivings, wondering about it, I want you to listen to something. Open your ears, and I want you to, fellas, I know this may be difficult for some of you, but I want you to be objective. Listen. Just open your ears and listen. Now, this is Drake on stage. He's by himself. And by the way, this video is so profound because you can't really even understand what Drake is even saying, but you won't need to. If you want to know what the difference is between Future and Russell Wilson, listen for yourselves. Did you hear that? Now, did you all hear that? You didn't even have to be able to make out what Russell was saying. What Drake was saying. All you heard was the reaction from the audience, and that was all you needed to hear. You didn't need to hear anything else. All you needed to hear was the reaction from the audience, and you understood. You understood. That was all you needed to hear. And you have to ask yourself, when is the last time for Ciara, a woman who is very, very much concerned about her image and thinks she's very, very much the queen and the princess and whatnot, when was the last time that she went somewhere with Russell and the room froze? When's the last time she went somewhere with him and it was a showstopper? The way in which she sees herself. When was the last time that happened? Fellas, you got to take a cold, analytical look at this. You have to be cold and objective. When was the last time that she got that type of experience from him? When was the last time that occurred? When was the last time she went somewhere with him and that was the experience that she got? When? Those are things you can't fake. Those are things you can't simulate. Those are things you can't substitute. People, more wrestlers in professional wrestling, more entertainers, more athletes will tell you that the biggest drug in the world isn't cocaine, it isn't heroin, it's fame. It's popularity. Remember, I've reminded you all for years now about the study that showed that the most important thing to human beings isn't power, fame, or money, it's status. And when you're with a man who all he got to do is walk in the room and everybody starts cheering, that's not something you can replace. So that goes to status. That transcends money. That transcends money. At least in that moment, that transcends that. Remember, females are informed by their emotions. So if you want to know what it is and why it is, it's because she's actually got confirmation. She's got confirmation of what it's like. She knows where she was, and she knows that when she went places, she was running around and she's got this tall dude there, and, you know, she gets attention for it and people respond a certain way. She knows what it was like. And this doesn't just go for Ciara. This goes for the female population in general. I don't want to get past the 30-minute mark before I remind you all that this isn't just a rule for Ciara or celebrities. This is for the female population in general. Your mother, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, your daughter. Yes, indeed. Every single one. These are reflexive, subconscious biological cues. They have no control over its ability to affect them. Now, of course, it shouldn't make them act a damn fool, but they don't have control over the fact that it will affect them. Not it might, it will. And that can be a bitter pill to swallow, I understand. But the bottom line is, it's real. It is real. So if you want to know what it is, how it was, he was able to make that impression and whatnot for a little while. This is before the baby mama thing really got out of control. She figured she had landed him. And all other things remaining equal. Now, by the way, that looks like Future's wearing glasses. That looks like he's actually wearing glasses. Those don't look like sunshades. Those look like glasses. So to all my nerds out there, if Future is wearing glasses, because I've seen him a number of times what look like glasses, not sunglasses, but prescription glasses. Like I say, I mean, that's no excuse for sitting up here trying to fertilize the world, but there are things to be learned. There are things to be learned. Now, I want to get into the next most important part, which is, okay, now, why in the world did she break bad like that? And before I do, people, monitor my likes for me here. If you're watching this and whatnot, you're actually getting somebody who knows what they're talking about. Hit the likes for me. Hit the likes because I want to clarify what you're taking a look at here. Why did this happen? This happened because, and it is my conjecture that Ciara was the one who said, okay, let's leave. We got to go. No, we can't wait. In the chat room, at Bear LV, you're right. When they hit the bass and everything, yeah, set it off. She said, we gotta leave. We gotta leave. Because she couldn't be in the same. Remember, a female always needs to feel that the man she's going to is better than the man she was with. In that moment, it was very clear that she had been downgraded. There was nobody in that room who wanted to take pictures with Russell Wilson. Nobody. And what she demonstrated, I'm telling you, what she demonstrated was subconsciously, she was showing, and she was actually showing overtly that she is not confident about this man that she's with. She's not confident about him. That when you actually have when they actually come face to face, and you have to make a direct comparison between where you were and where you are, you can't pretend that you're Miss It. And nobody, take a look at the clear reaction they got from this man being in the room without you. Which is a reminder to the fellas out there, keep stacking, keep building, keep grinding, keep focusing on your purpose, keep focusing on your mission. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. It can be hard sometimes. Don't slack. Don't slack. But the reason why she said, okay, I got to get the hell up out of here is because, number one, she could see, she felt very self-conscious because it was clear the world doesn't consider what you got to be an upgrade. And number two, she didn't want Russell to see how she was reacting. Because if she sits there long enough, she gonna mess around and crack a smile. Now, just like Kanye and Kim, you gotta watch it when you've been dealing with a chick who's been out here in the streets and been run through. You're gonna be super sensitive because you know she has a propensity for doing that. And just like Kanye and Kim, Kanye was unable to resolve that. Well, just like that, here comes Russell and Ciara. And Ciara was afraid that Russell was going to see her smiling. Ciara was afraid that Russell was going to see a positive reaction on her part. And she couldn't take that risk. She just couldn't. She just couldn't. So she plays it off and, okay, let's go ahead and leave. Now, I want you to think about how silly this is for the future. Not the rapper, but chronological time. Anybody who wants to book Russell Wilson and Ciara to go anywhere, are they basically now all going to be required that they can't go anywhere without him? Is that the case? Is that what they're saying here? Is that what they're telling you here? Is that from now on, they are not going to be able, you're going to have to check in with them first? That she's not going to go anywhere if Lorenzo is on the marquee? Is that basically what she's saying now? Is that it? So from now on, she can't make a public appearance if Future is going to be there in the building, on the block. Is that it? So now what she does is going to be dictated to by wherever Future is? Will Russell Wilson not be able to show up for a halftime show or anything else like that if Future is going to be a part of it? Is he not going to be able to be there for a halftime performance? If Future is going to be there, then Russell can't be. So Future's proximity to Future is going to dictate what moves they can make and what moves they can't. Think about that for a few moments, because that's the message that she sent is, okay, if Future is about one of the biggest rappers in the world, if Future is nearby, then, oh, we can't be there. That's what it's going to be? Is that really the message you want to send to promoters, to clubs, to people? By the way, who's going to invite them to another party knowing that they're going to spaz out like that? Who's going to be eager to do that? Because when people are hosting a party, they expect adults to act like adults. So if her whole thing is, nope, if Future shows up and if he ain't bummy, then I can't be there. Just understand that that's not going to be a good look for you. That's not going to work out so well. For the rest of her career, she's going to try to sit up here and make sure she stays away. That's going to be a hard thing to do. And that'll definitely take a toll. Might help your marriage last a couple of days longer, but that's going to be a very difficult thing for you to be able to keep up for any real length of time. So there's your clue right there. She should have been able to sit there in that room and be perfectly fine. At what point does she reach an equilibrium with that? If you've married this man, then he needs to understand that, okay, that happened. That happened. Now, it is a good signal if Ciara is the one who said we have to leave. Believe it or not, that's the good scenario. The bad scenario is if Russell said, we getting the hell up out of here. Because if Russell is the one who said we gotta leave, if Russell is the one who said, I don't want to be here anymore, just understand something, Russell, you blinked. You blinked. In this contest for dominance of the room, not of Ciara, but of the room, in this contest for dominance, you blinked. Future walked in the room and you went running. I want the fellas out there, I want my honorable awkward dudes to understand there's a reason why that's a terrible look. And in your lives, the reason why you need confidence is because you don't want to be the guy who ran. So the best case scenario is if Ciara said, let's get the hell up out of here so you don't see me blushing. If Future shoots a couple of bars my way, I don't want you to see me blushing. Okay, that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is if Russell said we gotta leave, then Russell ran. No, you haven't heard this analysis, by the way, with these little man babies on the internet. You haven't heard a grown man's analysis of this. In the grown world, you wouldn't sit up and run like that. It's like, okay, we're in this life. We're living this celebrity life. It's what we are. He's no bigger than we are. This was right after the Super Bowl. Russell is a part of the NFL. This was a Super Bowl, I guess, after party or whatever. Russell is actually in the NFL, and the guy who is actually in the NFL went running from a fella who, I don't know if he could catch a football if you dropped it in his hands. And yet Russell went running. So from this day forward, we all know who it was who attained dominance. And she remembers that. Remember what I've taught you all there. A woman is always having to remember that because her safety, her well-being, she's depending on the man that she is with for her safety and her well-being and her survival. That is why you see females, they want a guy who's not gonna run. They want a man who demonstrates that he's gonna stand, because she understands if things go down, she might not be able to get up and turn tail and run. She might not be able to do that. So she needs to be with a guy that if things go down, because understand, in the woman's mind, she's thinking, if we're in the house, if we're in the bedroom and somebody breaks in, what am I supposed to do? If you're with a man who is saying, yeah, we can run our way through this. No, she wants a guy who will be able to stand because she doesn't know what's going to happen. And what Russell demonstrated is he really won't. I just want you all to understand, if nothing else, even if Ciara said, let's go, Russell should have been the one to say, no, I'm not going no damn where. We were invited here apparently just like he was, and we didn't know he was coming. But if I leave now, everybody's going to be talking about the fact I left. No, I'm staying right here. If nothing else, Russell should have been like that. And be like, you still got something for this nigga? Well, no, but I don't feel comfortable with him here. We're not going anywhere. We're staying right here. We're not going nowhere. He's going to do his little funky old set. He's going to make like Kanye and try to see if he can rile you up. And your job is to stay cool, calm, and collected. Okay, they threw a curveball. All right. Russell should have been the one to say, no, we're not going anywhere. I am in the NFL. This guy is hanging out at the damn after party. I am a member of the league. I'm actually in the game. This dude is a spectator. What the hell I look like running from him? And what he did in that moment was he confirmed every negative thing that she's thought. He confirmed every negative suspicion. Even if she said, let's leave, fellas, understand that's the wrong response. If she's saying leave, you're supposed to be like, nope, I'm being right here, and you gonna be right here too. We're not going any damn where. Now, if I'm them, get on the phone, start chopping it up with people or whatever. You don't have to sit there and bop your heads to his music. You ain't got to do that. But running and leaving? Absolutely not. You don't ever do that. Never. I don't care if you're 6'5" or 2'6". You don't do that. Never. You never let them see you sweat. You never let them sit up here and see that they've got dominance, because from now on, just understand it's going to be resonating to people. Oh, well, that's why she still got a thing for him. That's why she's still responding to that. It wasn't very hard to see who was the alpha and who was the beta. It wasn't very hard to see that. There's a lesson to be learned about that here that I want all the fellas to understand tonight. However, you might disagree, and a couple of folks in the chat room did, so therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the program that laid the foundation upon which all of these red pill, MGTOW, high-value posers and frauds and alpha male wannabes are going to be ripping off and stealing everything next week. Hell, they started this week, so it is what it is. Just another day in the life. But go ahead and give us a call here. And I want to thank all of you here for tuning in tonight. I know it was a little bit impromptu. I didn't get to give a whole lot of notice about it. I've been doing the most here lately. Got some moves happening, got some things happening. I've been working on a few things, so I'm in between places right now, but I'm trying to hold things steady, so hopefully there's no issues with signals or whatnot. YouTube's going to try to mess with it, but thank you all for being here tonight, especially if you've been instructed by my mods to call in. That was not a request. That was an order. So if you're not on the line in 2 minutes or so, don't be surprised when you get banned. Just because a chick ain't hood doesn't mean she's not for the streets. You got to understand, when females have failed, they understand that dudes from the streets are intellectually less capable, so she's got dominance. When you hear females talk about men are intimidated by their intelligence, what she means is the low quality males that she has been able to gain dominance over are afraid of her intelligence. She's never talking about a doctor, lawyer, engineer, somebody who finished high school. She's always talking about dudes who got GEDs and fellas who haven't really accomplished anything. They're always talking about that. They're not talking about even an average competent male. What they're looking for is a beta they can dominate, but a beta they can dominate, even if he is smarter than her, he's not going to stand up to her. He's not going to do that. So with that being the case, yeah, they're going to give you a story that, oh, they're intimidated. No, they're not intimidated. They just weren't even capable. But the men who are capable won't have a problem with that. So when a female is for the streets and she starts giving cues that she's still got that longing for it, and I'm telling you that in a situation like this, yeah, they came face to face after all these years, and her response was to run. Dude, the countdown to y'all falling apart has officially begun. The countdown has officially begun. There are lessons in here for you. Let me go ahead and take a few telephone calls here. Let me get caller from area code 817. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is DQ from Fort Worth.
DQ from Fort Worth. What's on your mind?
Yeah, brother. Your boy Russell, man, he's so out of his league, bro. He even his own teammates, bro, like former teammates of his that were playing for Seattle. They said this, bro, like they don't even really respect him like that. Like they respect Tom Brady. You know, they'll jump in front of a car for Tom Brady, but his own teammates don't respect him like that. Like he don't have the whole team, like, behind his back or whatever. But I don't really see why she even picked this dude, bro, because his first girlfriend before he married Sierra was white, bro, and this dude is out of his league, bro.
Well, it's because
I don't even see his motivation, bro.
She understood that. Take a look at her career and what she was doing based on what her options are. Remember what I've taught you all. You can't choose from the options that you wish were available. You can only choose from the ones that actually are. So everybody was out there fighting to see if they could get their hands or legs around either Jay-Z or Kanye. Well, Beyonce got Jay-Z and Kim got Kanye. So I'm just saying, who was left? So you have the rest of them out there scrapping for what's left. They were fighting for the scraps. And Future was what Ciara had when she lost that. At that point right there, Ciara understood, oh hell, I don't want to end up like these other chicks in their 40s or late 30s with no options. So she found a beta simp who was producing. And she made a very practical, pragmatic decision. He's not charismatic. He's not a showstopper. He's very beta. He's nothing personality-wise like Future. He doesn't really spark my attraction the way Future did. But he is competent, reliable, ambitious, and productive. And that's the horse I need to see me through. Now, the problem is she's been faking it. It would be different if she had a genuine appreciation for these things. But she doesn't. She doesn't genuinely appreciate it. She, like most females, she knows she needs it. She knows she got to have it because she's got to survive. But in reality, she's got contempt for you. And the moral of this story is what happens when you hook yourself to a female who has underlying contempt, that she doesn't appreciate what you're able to do. That's the problem. That's why, Future is out here talking about how much money he spent and this, that, and the other. He's definitely firing shots across the bow of, okay, if you're with me, this is what you got. And if you're not, this is what you've lost. So he knows how to put that image out there and present like that. But at the end of the day, she was never genuinely interested in Russell. She was interested in life after Future. And what does that life look like? It could have been anybody. It could have been Russell. It could have been Barney the dinosaur. She wanted to know that there was going to be life after Future. And as far as she's concerned, for appearance's sake, oh yeah, you could put him out there and he's the perfect step for dad. So that's the other thing she was concerned about, is somebody who didn't have contempt for having to raise Future's kids. So you have a beta who was just like, forget that, damn. So he was willing to do that. Right. So he checked all of these survival boxes. He checked all those boxes. Yeah. The things that she needs for survival after she's been run through and drugged through. he checked all the boxes. So it was a no-brainer. He's not what you want. He's what you need. You better grab him before somebody more ambitious like Lala comes along and gets him.
True. Hey, don't get it twisted now. But I don't like nothing about Future, bro. He the type of dude, bro, that try. He lusting after everybody's wife. He that type of dude, bro. And I'm surprised Pippen didn't put them hands on him.
Well,
but
let's be clear. Future is the kind of low life dude. You gotta watch the females who respond to it. That's what you really gotta watch. Future is the kind of dude who gets the response of little scummy hoes. I mean, it is. Larsa Pippen, Ciara. It's not like these are high quality females, man. It's not like these are the best and brightest. These are chicks who they're just floating through life. They have no direction.
Yeah.
They have no ambition. They get in where they fit in. And what happens is they look for weak-minded males who are willing to let them sit there and be unproductive. If you have a female who's not productive, like that Freddie Gibbs song, Black Illuminati with Jadakiss, we say, if she ain't working, you ain't got a wifey, you got a Tommy, like from Martin. If you're willing to allow a female to sit there next to you and simply be a hood ornament, understand, females on Instagram and every damn thing else, there's a reason why it's a racket for them right now. They understand. They get it, that there are a certain segment of well-to-do males who didn't have to actually know how to make money. They got it as a coincidence of genetics. If you're in the NBA, you are rich by an incident of genetics, your height, athletic ability. These are not really things that you chose. These are things you were born with. So it's not like you had to develop competence to get them. They were just given to you as a fluke of genetics. So what that means is that since you didn't know how to, you didn't have to fight to earn it or make it, you don't know how to retain it. So there's a group of women out there who target those kind of men. They know that they're intellectually weak. They know that they're emotionally weak. They know they have corrupted personalities. They know that he is easily manipulated. And so you are what they target. Now, the fact that he might be successful, like I say, these guys are professional alphas, but in their personal lives is straight betaism. Now, in Future's case, he sends up a flag that he presents as an alpha. Let's be clear, he presents as an alpha. But when them females get behind closed doors, he betas up. And the females know this. They know that he presents as an alpha, but they know if I can get this fool behind closed doors, he's going to beta up. Take a look at how many babies he's had by how many women. So the desperate, the downtrodden, the defeated, the worst of the worst females, those are the ones that respond to a Future or Future type personality guy. But they know what they're doing, man. What men tend to do is they tend to underestimate just how scummy some females will be. Men tend to hold on that sugar and spice thing and truly just no, she wouldn't actually be this grimy. Yes, dude, she would be this grimy. She sure will. And there's a whole industry of them waiting.
Mm-hmm. Truly. Well, that's what's up, man. Good podcast, man. Be one, my brother.
Black, first, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 412. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Lonnie from Pittsburgh. I'm Tony Darkson, the comment.
Okay, Lonnie from Pittsburgh. What's on your mind?
I was told to call in. I guess it's because I'm agreeing with you. I said he should have took the sack, which he should have. He's in the NFL. That was his field. Like, where else would he be bigger than Future? You know? Not on the red carpet nowhere. So, yeah, he should have took the sack, even though it hurt his little heart. But what was the other thing I said? She can tell you how it was. There was a play on the song. Yeah, she's missing that. She's missing that life. And another thing, I don't know if you touched on it yet, but it's something about women when they get with men with money and they get content. They still got that little animal instinct where they might want to play in the dirt a little bit, so to speak.
Well, if you let them get bored.
Yeah.
If you don't, if all
most
she's
of them
doing
guys
is,
with money is kind of boring.
well,
I mean,
if
I'm a little
you
older.
can't just give it to them. If you just sit up here and throw, if a person just wins the lottery, women by nature tend to seek to be sedentary, and they don't really seek to do a lot of labor. So if you give that to them with no requirements, don't be surprised when immediately they begin taking it for granted. Women have a princess fantasy. Where men mess up is they usually give into it. Well, let me go ahead and fulfill that princess fantasy, because men typically tend to think that's the closest points between being able to get what you want all the time and getting her to quote unquote submit. And in reality, all you're doing is creating a spoiled brat, because nobody values something that they didn't have to work for, that they didn't have to sacrifice for, something that takes a part of them that they can't recover. This is why it is important to have years. This is why it's important to have time. This is why it's important to go through struggles with a person and have sacrifices with them before you make any type of permanent, long-standing commitment, so you know that they've actually got skin in the game. Show me a female that you gave her everything she wanted within the first 6 months, and I will show you a female who is indifferent about you leaving. Now, show me a female who's given you 5 years and had to work to get your attention and had to spend her own money and her own time, and she's gotten into it with her family over you and whatnot. And I will show you a female who will bust out every window in your car with you in it if you attempt to leave. She is invested. I want you all to ask yourselves a simple question. How much work did Ciara put in to get Future? Now, how much work, I'm saying work, how much sacrificing did Ciara have to do to get Russell?
She probably had to turn her head and say hello. That's probably about the most effort she put in on that one. That's still a mystery to me. That's one of them things where you be like, oh, wow. That's like the little high school nerd that end up with the chick that used to mess with everybody who was hot back in the day. And you like, man, you with Kim? Don't you know what that is? You already know who she is. But he happy. And we pretend foreign.
Is he? Now there's the thing I've been saying. I've been saying that since day one, because what I'm saying is we're all on the outside and we all see these little cues and these little slights that she keeps giving. And when she was going back and forth with Future when they first got together, that was your sign right there. Russell, you're in major trouble. You shouldn't really pursue this further. But let's be clear, she's the hottest thing that he's ever had access to with his socially awkward self. Yeah. She's the hottest thing he ever had access to. So he was just like, well, screw it. I'll take that L, because I'm never going to have anything hotter than this. So just understand, the way you see him is not the way he sees himself. And you and I are old enough. We've met plenty of females. It's like, okay, she's gorgeous and she's with this bummy dude. Yeah, because the way we see her is not the way she sees herself.
Hold on. Like, wow, speak on that a little more. Like, I kind of get what you're saying, because it's like some chicks where it's like, okay, the game is over for you, for real. But you still out here. You can't really compete. It's like, if you 40-something, okay, don't go to the club, try to shake it up and try to compete with somebody with a 22, 23-year-old body. You better go to a jazz club where you can sit down and try to talk to somebody and pretend you got some kind of sense.
Well, it's more the difference between a female who was born a natural 10 versus a female who she came up and she wasn't really told she was pretty, but then one day figured out she kind of was. And then she started learning how to do makeup and getting her hair done, and she built up her confidence naturally. So it's the difference between someone who was given it their whole lives versus someone who actually had to fight and scrap and scrape to get that type of approval and to get that. That's the kind of difference that you're looking at there. It's that type of difference. So if you have somebody who didn't have to really work or fight for it, then by definition, don't be surprised when they're not. So you meet a lot of females, and it usually kicks in about the time they're in high school. By the time they get in high school, you're either an it girl or you're not. You're either fighting for the attention of the males or you're not. So you and I both remember the cheerleading squad or whatever. That's generally where the best of the best would be. Although then they stop doing that stuff and they got the chicks who go to the clubs or whatever at whatever age they're at. But by the time you get to high school, the females who are the it girls are pretty much established by then. The rest of them are going to have to fight for it. The rest of them, they didn't figure it out. They're going to have to work for it. But here's the problem. Females who are naturally cute or naturally pretty, if they haven't been taught to value themselves, then they're like an NBA athlete. They've just got something that they didn't have to work for. They have no clue how to leverage it. So instead, they go off thrill seeking. So yeah, it's like you could do a whole lot more with them looks, but you hanging out with a fella making $25,000 a year. She doesn't know how to leverage it. So she doesn't see the value of it. And furthermore, you're trying to tell her about all these grandiose things that she could do. And she's like, I sing along with Bert and Ernie. What the hell are you talking about? So the way you see her like in the mold of Felicia Rashad or Lena Horne or Coretta Scott King.
Right.
And she doesn't see herself that way. She's just like, yeah, I'm a cute chick. I know that. Yeah, I know I'm cute. And so you're both kind of saying the same thing, but you both mean something different. You're like, hey, you've got power. And she's like, I can get 1,000 likes on Instagram.
Yeah. And you know what? The stress of those ones that had to build themselves up, trying to be in a relationship with them and having to constantly convince them, yeah, you look good. They always still seem to be chasing that bone for whatever reason. Because I think within their heart of hearts, they know they really ain't that. They know their looks could be wiped off with a napkin or something.
Well, I mean, women know what they can have and what they can't have. They, in their heart of hearts, they know. They know.
So?
Oh,
really?
Brother, absolutely. I put in a stack of everything. Females go for easy wins.
The denial, though.
Women do not like rejection at all, so they go for an easy win.
Yeah.
Now, let me rephrase that. Women, when we say that women don't like rejection, remember, it's only rejection if she wants the guy. If you're not a guy she wants, she doesn't care what you think. But for the guys that she actually does want, rejection from them is a soul crusher. If it's a guy she actually wants, rejection from him, it's like, okay, she's fully invested. Women do not take rejection at all. Males are taught from an early age to handle rejection. Women don't handle it at all. They don't handle it at all because they're used to winning. Women don't, that's what I've taught you all, women don't have game. Men have to have game because we actually have to work to be able to get positive female attention. Women, it's just, females is usually just given to them, so they don't have to actually develop game. They just walk in the room and then things are given to them, which puts them at a competitive disadvantage because ultimately men have more of a mastery of the psychology behind males and females, and the females are just sitting there like, well, and one day they just wake up and nobody's bringing them anything anymore. Now she's trying to figure out how to exercise game at the age of 40. Shout out Lala Anthony and her now son husband. But she's 40, she's going on 40 years old now, trying to figure out how to get some game. And all she can really do is put up pictures on Instagram, not realizing that none of us as men, even those of us, we ain't even Carmelo, none of us see her the way we saw her a decade ago. Baby, we done seen you naked on TV, on Instagram. You've been run through with Carmelo.
Embarrassingly acting like a broke chick. It's like she is doing all the wrong things at the end. It's like, what are you doing right now?
Because that's
what poor people do.
Well, that's what poor people, that's what an individual who doesn't have anything else does. People who don't have the ability, people who don't have talent set themselves on fire. The easiest way to get attention is set yourself on fire. If you want to get all the TV cameras and people to show up, just go on the street and go set yourself on fire. And you're going to get plenty of attention.
Yeah, just don't ignore me.
If you have genuine talent, people will come looking for you. It's not necessary to set yourself on fire. What Lala doesn't understand is there's only so many different ways and so many different angles you can show us the same ass.
Right.
That's what hasn't penetrated through her head, because when you've been relying on that all this time, what you really genuinely show is what you think you've got left to bargain with. And she's like, okay, let me see if there's any more mileage that can be gotten out of these butt cheeks. Baby, they're almost 40-year-old butt cheeks now. And we've seen them from every angle. You can't leverage it. How much more do you think you can mark up the price on something that we've already seen 50 or 60 times? You can't try to mark up the price anymore. You got to have
Especially
something
when new
else
models
now.
is rolling out every day.
The passage of time has left him, but she's dealing with what she's got because that's the only thing that's left. And when you listen to her son talk, it's tragic. He's real beta sounding. He's real meepish sounding. You know, I got to put that on Carmelo too, by the way. But he's real beta and meepish. He doesn't sound anywhere near as articulate or capable as his parents. He's real beta and meepish. So she's turned him into the type of weak beta who will never leave her. And guess what? Her husband is left. And now she's sitting up here putting all kinds of stuff on Instagram about her son. Her son was her Valentine. And by the way, if y'all want to go to Instagram and get creeped the hell out about the amount of pictures and posts she's now putting up, but compared to what she was previously doing, now that energy has shifted from Carmelo and a man. We know she's out here trying to get a new man. And every time we turn around now, she keeps showing these interactions. But it's not just her posting her son, it's interactions with her and her son. And that is creepy as hell.
It is.
She's totally out of touch with
crawl when you said that. Wow.
I might do a program about that later this week, but it is very, very creepy. It's not even cringe. We're beyond cringe. This is just creepy now that you keep doing this, and you're doing it over and over. So what type of man do you think you're going to get? Dwayne Wade? I mean, that's pretty much going to be it. But what kind of man do you think you're attracting by doing this? So she's out of touch without a man there to limit her and say, hey, what are we doing? Without that going on, her feminine energy is seeking a place to focus itself. And she doesn't see it. She doesn't see this at all. The game is over.
Waiting to happen.
She needs to go back to Carmelo. You need to accept when you are defeated, baby, for what you want and what you need. All of y'all are sitting out here yelling about Russell Wilson. Ciara got the last Russell Wilson. From here on in, y'all get the dude at Costco's, or maybe if you can grab the fellow who's the fellow manager at Walmart. That is it. That is it. You can't do this anymore. Brother, the marriage rates, I posted a thing on Facebook earlier today from CNN. Marriage rate is as low as it's ever been during the pandemic right now. Not only just the marriage rate is low, the sexual rate is low. About 30%, 30 or 36% of people were saying that they had had no sexual relations in 2021 at all. Nothing. Hadn't done anything.
Wow.
No sexual activity whatsoever.
That's the opposite.
26%.
I thought there would be a boom.
26% of Americans between ages 18 and up didn't have sex once over the past 12 months. Not one time. And by the way, the numbers get even worse. When you take a look at marriage, dating, and everything else, the numbers even get worse from there. It gets worse from there. We're at a 30-year low for sex. Think about that for a moment. People were having more sex during the Reagan administration, or at least the Bush administration, than they are now. Think about that for a few moments.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, in the study, they were talking about 1989 people. So when I say the Reagan administration, I'm probably wrong about that as the Bush administration, but definitely back to the Reagan years. Think about that for a few moments.
Right.
Before you had Instagram, remember back when you couldn't show nudity on TV and you definitely couldn't even talk about sex on songs on the radio? People were having more sex back then. Today is allegedly a sexual free fire zone, and there's less sexual activity going on today than there has been. Now, I want you all to ask yourselves a question. Why do you think that is? I don't want to spoil my next program about that because I do want to get into this. Watch Kitten Heels go steal this now. But in any case, I do want to go ahead and get into this. But I want you all to think about that for a few moments. How in the hell is it? For many of you, you weren't even born, by the way. A lot of you listen to this program tonight, you weren't even born in 1989. Well, I was there when NWA and the DOC and Fresh Prince and rap really kicked off in 1989. To be totally honest, that was the year of the rapper. And think about it. We had more sex going on then than you do today, and allegedly it's a sexual free fire zone today. What changed? What's the difference? What's wrong? And what is wrong is there has been a tremendous consolidation. That's what's happened. You've got the haves and the ain't never gonna gets. That's what you have right now. You have the haves and the ain't never gonna gets. I'll let you have the last word.
You pretty much said it all. I'm enjoying the program. I'm pretty new to the team. Love the family and everything. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm gonna stay tapped into you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again. Black versus always. Let me get color from area code 510. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
B1. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Aldo out of Oakland, California.
Aldo out of Oakland. What's on your mind?
Oh, man. So you hitting us with a litany of things. Number one, I definitely can see the reason why Sierra dragged Russell out of there, okay? Because you can see, if you've seen it before in parties, you see guys like him stewing, and feeling real uncomfortable, looking at his shoes. I mean, that's not even his scene. This guy's a square ball, you know what I'm saying? And for him to be in that crowd with just all them alphas, I mean, it was uncomfortable for him. She probably felt bad for his ass and dragged him out of there, because I saw that one little picture where she got the blonde hair kind of going down. He's sneaking through an alley, you know what I'm saying? And he's kind of like puffed up in his cheeks. He's the one that's looking like you were saying, she was probably blushing. I think he was kind of getting blushed up in there, you know what I'm saying, as far as being in an environment with those alphas. And he was feeling like, oh, damn, I'm back in a huddle with guys are looking down at me again, So it's like everywhere he goes, he's getting hit, you know what I'm saying, with the beta treatment, unless he's in Seattle, right? And for a future, I mean, you can't get mad at this guy. This guy is in his lane. He don't claim to be, some guy that's trying to be a intellectualist. Man, he's thugging it, and he's only looking for girls who are out there in the streets. When he say they for the streets, that's his dinner plate. That's his dinner bill. You know what I mean? So he's loving the girls for the streets. And if you come in sloppy seconds after him, best believe, man, you dealing with I'm dealing with a girl that just came from the streets. So it's hilarious for him to try to make this Sierra into a housewife when she just left the trap.
If you want to know why it is that a woman's sexual history matters so much, what you just said is the reason why.
There it is.
Ladies, if you want to know why it is that your sexual history matters so much, it isn't something we can argue or debate about. Your sexual history matters. And the reason that your sexual history matters so much is because if you've been with a dude who's done turned you out, because you don't know what the hell Ciara was doing behind when she was with Future. You don't know.
Me and Jason know.
I'm just saying, it sure as hell wasn't this vanilla milk toast, warm milk and cookie stuff she doing with Russell.
They wasn't by the fire. They wasn't by the fire dunking chocolate chips at the fire telling ghost stories. I can tell you that on Friday night.
Not at all. So just Russell is sitting here trying to give her a foot rub, and she just looking at him like, OMG. Future
got some DVDs that he gonna release real soon. I'm gonna tell you that.
Oh, like I say, trust me, he got footage somewhere. There is footage. He's like Steven Spielberg. Can I get you to turn over to the left this time? So just understand, under that environment, what I'm saying is after you've been with Future, and I'm just gonna say it right now, I cannot imagine Future getting with Ciara and not demanding a threesome. That one right there has stuck out. That one has stuck out to me in particular. When you got a female who just wants to wash herself in religion after the fact and whatnot, it really kind of sticks out to me that this guy must have had you doing some ultra wild stuff, And now you're trying to bank hard left in another direction to try to conceal that. But what I'm telling you is after a chick done been with Future, she done did everything. Yeah. She done did everything. Yeah. What the hell are you going to do with her after that? So just understand, ladies, if you want to know why your sexual past and your sexual history is so important, it is because after you have allowed a fella to, as it were, violate you like that and you went along with it, we know that's going to leave a scar that's never going to go away.
Ever. And as soon as we see you in a room, we can look right in your pupils and see every moment that we had with you is still there with you. It's never going to go away. Okay, this old lady's in the church right now, jumping up and down, testifying because what some old dude did to her in the 60s and 70s, and she's still trying to pray that away. Okay, she just ain't got no Russell. All right, all she got is the deacons to help lay some hands on her. But another thing is, it looks like hypergamy when it goes wrong, okay? Because you can only study a man so much as far as social background and educational background. She thought she won, and that's the tricky part about that hypergamy understanding is you think you won because you see another pretty boy who got consistent millions coming here, okay, and he got a whole city, a whole state, yelling his name. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about as far as Russell. So you like, oh man, I didn't came up. But you know what hypergamy doesn't measure is alpha and beta. You cannot distinguish alpha and beta based off of social backgrounds in education.
Well,
you can't.
Let me go a little bit further than that. Let me go a little bit further than that, though. You're with a guy who's got people cheering his name. Well, they were cheering his name while he was winning. And you were trying to get married to him while he was winning. Does anybody consider the Seahawks to be a contender to win anything last year, the year before, next year? So in other words, Russell's stock has diminished. And what Chief got was the final receipt in that room. That, by the way, your man can't hold a candle to where you were before. And that's got to be a brutal wake-up call because what has allowed her to sit there and pretend where Russell was at least the assumption that, well, I'm with one of the biggest names in the NFL, so you can't sit up here and diminish that. It got diminished in one evening. You couldn't even pretend it was there anymore. So with that being the situation, no, you were hot when that occurred. Future walked in the room, and I guarantee you there was nobody cheering for Russell when he walked in. Your baby daddy jumps up on stage, and next thing you know, the place explodes. That's got to be a gut punch.
Right.
That's a gut punch.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, she about to be a sleeky link, okay, right in the DMs of Future. We're going to see some things in the near future, no pun intended, with Sierra, all right, because she coming back. Look, we've all been in this situation before when you laughing at a chick that you used to be with because she thinks she leveled up. But she don't see what you see in your man, okay? Because when your man get around other men, you're going to find out who's the dog in the fight right now, all right? And it's hilarious because like I said, the aesthetics look great for Russell. The aesthetics look great. But around other men, come on, man, you got a poodle and I'm a rock. You didn't see it.
I would not even go that far anymore. Ciara is like Lala Anthony and the rest of them. She doesn't actually have anything else, so social media matters, okay? Remember, she's up there co-signing posts from Lala on Instagram. Social media actually matters for them. And she has heard everything that the world has said about Russell Wilson. There is nowhere, no place where there's a group of men saying, damn, I wish I could be like Russell Wilson. Nobody's saying that. And she's heard this. She knows this. She knows the only place that this guy is a star is at an NFL forum where you can sign autographs. Outside of that, in the regular world, there's nobody really saying Russell Wilson is my masculine role model. There's nobody giving that kind of impressions. So she knows this. She's seen the videos. She's seen the headlines. She's heard the things. So her whole thing is, well, don't worry. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm perfectly fine. Ladies, the most dangerous thing in the world you all can do is that fake damn denial thing. I'm happy where I'm at. Let me tell you, give it up real fast and real quick. It's phony.
No one believes you. You need more witnesses, ladies.
You need more witnesses. But in the case of Future, for example, think about that for a few moments. Okay, how are you going to flex on Future with a Russell Wilson? How do you flex on him with that? He's taller. His swag is on 1,000. He's sitting up there with Drake. Everybody came to this place to see Drake, and then Drake is like, "Hey, there's somebody bigger than me here. Enter Future." And at that point, there, that's it. How are you going to sit up here and flex on him because he's sitting there? And if he does pick you out in that crowd because it's dark in there, but if he does pick you out, it's like, yeah. That dude can't hold a candle to me. Dude can't hold a candle to me, and you know it. Now, here's the other thing I want you to understand. I'll let you have the last word. Yeah. Ciara has been attempting to dress up Russell Wilson as her little blow-up doll here for a while. She's been trying to play dress up. She's been trying to give him some edge. She's been desperately trying to make a bad boy out of him for a while now, and it doesn't work. But I want to tell you something else. Likewise, Ciara has been trying to dress up in the outfit of a square, respectable female. She's been trying to do that too. And as soon as Future walked in the room, he's like, "Look at you with this damn monkey suit. This ain't you. You was the broad. You was the broad who was stretched out in the back of my Bentley. Yes. This ain't you. Yes. Who you think you fooling with this?" Right. So she doesn't want to lock eyes with him because she know when you lock eyes, that's the truth. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. When you lock eyes, you know what's going through his head. Wasn't you stretched out in the back of my Rolls Royce with old girl, and now you sitting up here trying to dress like a Stepford wife? Who you fool? You got this little square nigga fool, kinda. You ain't fooling me. You're not fooling me. I was there. Yeah. You're not fooling me.
Right. And let me tell you about being fooled, right? So you know when they praying at night, Russell was the one praying the hardest, okay? He's on his knees begging that all those demons that Future and whoever else put inside his own wife, you know what I'm saying, it's done with. He's praying that this house is going to stay solid and not fall apart like a deck of cards. And Future, oh my God, man, he ain't got nothing to worry about. I know he's one of those Ray Pookie type of guys, but man, he's living his dream, man, and he ain't got to live fake. You know, I don't have respect for guys that just, you know, throw their seeds all over the place. You know what I mean? You know, I'm married, I got my seeds in one house, but for him, man, he doing his thing, and it's sad when you don't know your wife is for the streets. So that's all I had to say.
Well, she grabbed him quick before he knew any better. It's like, okay, let's hurry up and get married before you actually figure out what's going on. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me hurry up and marry you before you get smart and change your mind. Caller from area code 267, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing, Jason? This is Philip in Chicago.
Philip in Chicago, what's on your mind?
How you doing, Jason? I just had two questions for you, sir. The first one is, I can't understand, and I need to be educated on this, is I keep hearing a lot of black women say that they need to have weaves in order to protect their hair from being damaged. And I don't understand why that is.
Okay, the short answer to that is they're not taught how to do proper hair care anymore. That used to be a rite of passage. Now it's not even something that's broached in the home. So they're totally clueless. Go ask any beautician and they'll tell you they can count on one hand the number of customers who get their own hair done. That's kind of off topic for tonight, but what was your next question?
Okay, my next question is, as an older brother, how do I prevent my little sister from being in the streets? And if she's in college right now, She's 19. She goes to college.
That's a wrap.
And I just, man.
At some point, brother, at some point, you got to understand. There's a point in your life when you can be molded. Probably the most impressionable years are between the years of 0 and 4. And then after that, between the years of 4 and 10. Brother, once you get into the teenage years, there's not a lot of molding you can do. And once they get 19 years old, how much raising and molding are you going to be able to do?
Not much at all.
So I'm saying is that she's well down the way of choosing what kind of person she wants to be. So people either listen to your advice or listen to their experiences. In her case, she's at the point right now where you don't have any control of her actions. You don't have control of her environment. You don't have control of her movements. What's your leverage?
Well, I help her pay her rent at the campus.
Well,
and
I mean,
I'm getting ready to cut that off. Because she's not listening to me.
what is she not listening? What exactly is she not listening about?
Well, so she checks in with like my uncle and the church that they're involved in down there. They're paying the other half of the rent for her, and I keep hearing that she's not always behaving the best. Like she's, they'll see her with somebody that's not favorable, and then she'll lie to me about it. But then they'll call me and they'll tell me that she's doing this, she's doing that. But when I call her to ask her about it, she'll lie to me about it, and she's lied to me before about things. So, you usually say the past is an indicator of the future. So, and she doesn't want. She's becoming a disciplinary problem, and I.
Okay, well, let me find out a question here. Let's find a question here. How is she doing in school?
She just honestly, I don't know. She doesn't send me her report cards.
Okay, well, let's be very, very clear now. She went to college to go to school so she can pass her courses.
Right.
As long as she's doing that and she ain't turning up pregnant, what more do you want to ask of a grown woman? She's not your little sister anymore. So she's a grown woman now. So I'm going to just tell you right now, this is something and I don't have any biological children. And maybe this is one of the reasons I don't. Well, I don't have any I got plenty of nieces and nephews. Yeah, you don't want to think about nobody laying on top of your sister and sweating it up with her. I mean, that's not something you want sticking around while you're watching, the football game. And I understand that, but bruh, you got to understand she's a grown woman. She's not a Cupid doll. So with that being the case, she's going to go through the normal things in life that an adult's going to go through. So you can't be focused on that. This is not about, preserving her chastity. That ship has sailed, my dude. That ship probably sailed 4 years ago on average. So there's nothing you can do. This is not about saving your sister's chastity. Hopefully she's not with some tatted up goon. But if she does, like I say, hopefully she doesn't get pregnant by him and things. If you're really worried about that, you can insist on a Norplant or an IUD or something. But the bottom line is, if this is about controlling her behavior, you have very little means to do that. And the only thing she owes you is to finish her course like she's supposed to and not get pregnant. As far as I'm concerned, those are the only two things that she owes you. Because that second one will get in the way of the first. That's the biggest reason that you can't finish the first. Beyond that, brother, you don't really have anything else you can insist on. So this is about keeping dudes from, licking on your sister. You're going to have to put that out of your mind. You have no more control of that with her than, for example, she would have control of that with you. Because let me find out, how old are you?
I am 31 years old.
Okay. And where were you born and raised at?
I was born in Manhattan in Bellevue Hospital,
oh, hell.
New York City.
Dude. All right. Brother, where are your people from?
Haiti.
Okay. Bruh. So that means where y'all live in the Bronx or Queens?
We lived in Ozone Park, Queens.
Okay. So now you already know I'm not guessing my way through this. I'm not guessing my way through it. Now, bruh, you know the damn get down. And let's be honest. I don't know how your sister feels about you, but let's just say that she looks up to you as her big brother. Do you think that she approves of all the females you done laid up with? Are you sure there's not... let me take this a little bit further. If you had to go get a report card from your parents of all the females that you have spent personal time with, do you think you would receive an A for all of them? Or do you think there's a couple of D's and F's in there?
Yes, sir.
Then how is your sister going to be any different?
That's true.
So
Yeah,
like I
right
say,
about that.
there's only so much you can do. There's a little dumb stuff that might happen, but she's also going to have to learn why this doesn't work. The only thing you can insist on is that she finishes her courses like she's supposed to, and she's not doing something that would interrupt that. Drug use, getting pregnant. You got to worry about the big stuff, dude. And like I say, 4 years ago, some dude laying on top of her was the big stuff. At 19, that's not the big stuff anymore, man. Okay, are you pregnant? Our priorities got to shift a little bit.
Now, should I tell her, by what age should I tell her to try to focus on finding a producer and becoming a wife?
Now. But then again, your parents, really, you're not supposed to be doing that. Your parents are supposed to be having this conversation. So where the hell are they at?
They're not. My mother is there, but she's not a great. I'm gonna be honest. She's not a great example, Jason. She's not. She wasn't. So, and the father cannot even rub two pennies together. He lives in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So that's the situation we're dealing with.
Understand something. Situations don't really change in that regard. You need to make sure that you are as high quality of a producer as you can be, because that will really be the only leverage that you have. If she starts doing... People are going to listen to your... They're going to watch your example, not your advice. And if you don't demonstrate that you know what you're talking about, you have to demonstrate it. If you don't demonstrate you know what you're talking about, people are not really going to pay a lot of attention to it. Now, if you had male relatives, they tend to be more hard-headed than the female relatives are in that regard. So if you're producing, then you're going to have male associates who do. And that will have a whole lot more impact than you trying to tell her, well, look, you need to listen to today's sermon. So if that's what you're concerned about, but the time to have that conversation is now. But the thing is, if she's in school, for example, she's supposed to be getting associated with guys who are going somewhere now. That's what she's supposed to be doing.
Right, and that's what I'm getting ready to. I'm probably gonna pay another, because I was at her graduation last year, so I'm probably gonna take another visit and have a talk with her, and not try to belittle her, but give her the game, give her the business.
Well,
so,
just remember, bro.
I appreciate it.
Remember, for those of you who want to
really
do that kind of thing, just remember, take it from somebody who's had to be an influencer on this for a while. People are going to listen to somebody who's doing it. You got to be in a position that they want to be in. So if you're not really in the position they want to be in, or if they see holes in the game, or they know that's not really the life you're living, it's going to be very unlikely they're going to listen to you theorize. Now, she's still young enough that she can be impressionable, so that's good. If you wait another 4 years, she's going to be completely out of pocket. So you really want to catch her while she's still impressionable. So you're 31, and if you show through your example, hey, these are the folks I roll with, this is what's going on, this is what you need to be focusing on, because this is how it works, that'll go a whole lot more. So it's really going to be a matter of reflecting off of how you're doing.
Right. Duly noted.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 630. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Nick from Chicago by way of Dallas.
Nick from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I was in, I guess, a similar situation to the Russell thing, being a simple, whatever, no game, younger in life. And I can definitely relate to the several times that you said that if a woman actually cares about you, by the time, if you reject her and or leave her, if you've been with her in either one of those scenarios, she might get pretty emotional. And I got somebody still chasing after me now. Change numbers, block the number. She's like, hey, I want you to be in a relationship. Nick, let's be in a relationship. I mean, this was only the end of last month with this woman, this 2.5 years, still doing it. So I just got to say, when what you say is absolutely the truth on that situation.
Well, keep your value up is the most important thing. As a man, what gives us options is what quality we are. So hopefully the female you're talking about, doesn't look like a worn out shoe sole, but it certainly does matter.
Definitely
keep doing
not
what you're doing. It is far better to have options and not need them than to need options and not have them. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 919. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Jason?
Okay, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, I'm from, my name is JW. I'm calling from Durham, North Carolina.
JW from Durham. What's on your mind?
Quick question, Jason. Russell Wilson is high value. He's an NFL quarterback. He's won crazy awards, Super Bowls, and the whole nine. Okay. All right, I see where you're about to go with this. But in your opinion, what can Russell do at this point with this situation with Sierra? Because he's already knee deep in it. He married her. They got kids. All that's done. What can this man do to turn that situation around, if any?
Okay. If you all want to know what the real danger and the peril is of allowing fakers and posers to co-opt terms and define them with no real authority of what they speak and no real unified ideology, they just throw around terms and then the terms become meaningless because they're not practical. Russell Wilson could be a high value man if you want to use that particular nomenclature or vernacular. Russell could be. Here's the problem. There's no such thing as a beta high value man. I don't care what Kid and Heels told you. There's no such thing. Let me explain to you why. You cannot have value in a marketplace that is indifferent toward you. And if the only game changer that you have is, well, my money is straight, that doesn't do that. Because by definition, remember, you've also got, your professional alphas. Well, he might be a professional alpha, but your game's got holes in it. So I would argue, can Russell pass for a high value man? Well, sure, he could. But how can you be a high value man if you refuse to leverage your value? Which is where Russell fails. At least Future is leveraging his value for unlimited sexual access. Now, you might not approve of everybody he's doing it with, but the bottom line is he's leveraging it for unlimited sexual access and still got Tiara twitching and squirming when he walks in the room. Something that Russell has never been able to do. So the answer to your question is, how could Russell change this around? He would have to become a different person. Someone who is actually assertive for himself and willing to leverage the value of what he has. Problem. If you attempted to have that conversation with him, Russell's going to tell you, well, that's not what good Christians do. We don't do that.
Yeah.
That would not be right.
Yeah.
What would Jesus do? So just understand, you would actually offend Russell if you attempted to have that conversation with him. You'd offend him. He wouldn't want to hear it. As evidenced by his actions. He would not actually even want to entertain it. As far as he's concerned, only bad men go around leveraging themselves. Good men figure out what women want and then try to become that. That's Russell's worldview, as evidenced by his actions. This is not my opinion. Take a look at his actions. When he was with the white woman, he tried to be as cornbread as he possibly could be. With Ciara, he's allowed her to sit up here and try to be a facsimile of Future. He's poured all of that. What Russell needs to do is develop a spine, develop a personality, and yeah, I would say an edge, but he needs to develop standards to say, hey, this is who I am. That my goal in life isn't to qualify to be with you, Ciara. I'm the one who's winning Super Bowl championships. I'm the one on magazine covers. I'm the one who got your name hot. I'm the value.
Exactly.
And I don't think you will ever hear Russell Wilson say, I'm the value. Future makes it very clear to everybody who walks in the room, hey, nigga, I'm the bag. Yeah, 8-9 baby mamas, laugh if you want to. When I went up on that stage, your female was looking. Now, whether that's true or not, my point is that's the presentation he can give. Russell refuses to exercise power. He's got it, but he refuses to use it. So I cannot qualify him as a high value man, because a high value man exercises his power. He doesn't get power exercised on him. And Russell is just getting pushed around by every damn body to the point that he knows we have no respect for him. So the more respect he loses from us, the more he hugs up under her.
Yeah. I mean, it's two quick things. I noticed when he was, Russell Wilson was winning some award, and he was with the commissioner of the NFL. When they were I think it was last year's Super Bowl, when he was up there with the commissioner, Ciara's with him. Jason, Ciara had pink hair looking like a South Atlanta thought. And I'm like, yo, you are on national television for the Super Bowl. You dressed down with pink hair. It was some old colorful looking hair like that. I wouldn't even let her walk out the house looking like that. I just like, look, just stay home. I can't have you on my arm. And Russell's wearing a nice suit. It just didn't look right.
And didn't pull rank on it. And understand something. I'm one of the guys right here. I will tell you, I've had females who tried that kind of stuff. It's like, no, you have to be presentable. Well, why do I got to do that? No, you can't even walk outside. And I'll be damned about pajamas, and I'm not really cool about sweats, to be totally honest. But you represent me. You represent me. Why does that matter? That matters because when I get out here and do my thing in this world, you expect me to represent you well. There's no time that I get to sit up here and not represent you well. I can't sit up here and flag out somewhere and spaz out. When the bill comes due at the hotel, the restaurant, the resort, the airline, when they swipe the card, everything's got to be in check. Everything's got to be in order. And you assume, like the air you breathe, like the water you drink, you assume when you're with me, everything is in order. Well, guess what? That's the burden of performance. And likewise, you have to qualify. You represent me like I represent you. So you have to do that. I can't imagine Russell enforcing that. By what y'all are saying, he doesn't enforce it. So yeah, he's got value, but is worthless because he refuses to enforce it. So it's worthless. So I can't count him among men who actually do leverage it. Once again, this is like the chick who's a 10 who lets everybody run through her. I mean, she's a 10 telling you that she done slept with 45 men. It's like, oh, well, you're not a 10. No, there's a 10 isn't available to everybody. A 10 by definition is rare. If everybody has had you, then by definition, you're not a 10 because a 10 by definition is rare. You is common as hell is what you are.
Exactly. All right. Just to piggyback, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Mr. Black. All right. To give Ciara some credit, Ciara has not been dating no slouches in her past. Now, Future, we all know he's a hood nigga, and he's a talented dude. The dude has had crazy #1 hits. I mean, he's at the top of his profession in every sense of the word. All right. She was dating 50 Cent, top of his profession in every sense of the word. Then it's been a couple other people, but all them cats have been at the top of their profession. Now, even you say you got to judge a woman by her past. Now, what do you think about that?
I think that she's a hoe who's been passed around, is all you said. Because you're rattling off a list of men, but you can't tell me where she was able to hold any of them. So in other words, dudes just ride her around and then send her on her way. That's not a high value woman. A high value woman is a woman who's able to retain and hold the men. And Ciara doesn't have a record of being able to do that. She can't retain them. She can't hold them. She wouldn't be able to hold you or me, because we know. Don't you got Future's name tattooed on your damn fingers or something like that? By the way, I'm serious. Doesn't she have his name doesn't he have like symbols tattooed on her fingers from him? So it's like she wouldn't be able to hold anything else either. So all you're really doing is just rattling off, well, she's been laid up on in her earlier years, by the way, because what you're talking about is not even recent history. Future is the most recent history that she has, and that's going on, 7-8 years now? So the stuff you're naming is a decade older. We're talking about Ludacris and all that stuff there from those videos and things. No, that's ancient history now. That's ancient history. She's just a chick who went on the usual circuit of getting rode on in the industry. But nobody was serious about her, as evidenced by the fact that nobody was trying to keep her. They were just like, hey, that's what they do in the music industry. They're a bunch of in the entertainment industry, period. They're a bunch of degenerates. They really are. So they have no problem, all of them cycling through and laying up with the same chick. They have no problem with that. It's some real Caligula stuff going on there. It's some real Caligula stuff. And for those of you who don't know who Caligula was, look it up. My apologies here. I'll be damned. I guess it doesn't matter how expensive the damn hotel is or whatever, because the furniture creaks around like the damn Addams family. Anyway, brother, I'll let you have the last word.
Big dog, man. I was checking out an interview with Brittany Renner recently. I think with Cam or something. And man, everything you said about that girl, she damn near copped to and admitted to in that interview when she was sitting face to face with Cam Newton. Everything, bro. Man, my jaw dropped, man. I at one time I was like, daggone, Jason, man, maybe you should stick to the black authority stuff. I don't know about this stuff you're talking about right here on the business, but bro, hey man, I was wrong about that, man. Like, yeah, it's come true. It's come back full circle, man. Take it easy, bro.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You really want to see a real interview with Brittany Renner. If I ever talk to her, it's like, yeah. And trust me, it's not going to be some forgettable throwaway thing that nobody really cared about because nothing was talked about. It'll be real talk. Let me get called from area code 832. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Tony from Houston. How you doing, Jason?
Tony from Houston. What's on your mind?
But you don't think Ciara, she says she's a Christian now. Maybe she's not into that. Maybe she changed a little bit, you know.
A mouth can say, first of all, a mouth can say anything. Second of all, wasn't she at the damn Super Bowl after party watching Drake? Wasn't she on Instagram topless twerking her butt cheeks?
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't have.
Dude, come on now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on now. Come on, man.
But Russell's a decent guy. He's my brother because I'm a Christian. So I consider my brother. So that's why I'm standing up for Russ right here.
What are you standing up for, though? No offense. What are we standing up for, though?
He could have easily it could have turned into something different. It could have been a bar brawl. Because all the NFL dudes,
no, it couldn't be.
You don't think so? If Russ would have just like, hey.
No, it was never. No, it was never in danger of anything like that. No, because Russell's not that type of dude. He's in the NFL. He's not that type of dude. And Ciara would have respected him more if he were. That's the problem. But by the way, if you take a look on your screen, if you take a look on your screen, you can see Ciara with her good Christian twerking, her good Christian topless twerking, by the way, and with Russell sitting there online co-signing it. So those are your good Christian values on display. Yeah, we've seen a lot of Catholic girls with long-ass sexual rap sheets and bad histories and whatnot. So, yeah, this is your good Christian chick.
You don't think that could have went the wrong way, though? You don't think that could have turned into something totally off the because the cats who do that kind of thing,
They got a history of doing that kind of thing. That's the first thing.
So you don't think
the cats who do that gotta
like get a couple of offensive linemen to run up there?
No, because they don't. Because when's the last time something like that happened? No. What you're talking about is fiction. That doesn't occur. And Russell ain't the kind of guy who rolls like that anyway. Furthermore, Future's not the kind of guy who rolls like that. Truth be told. Third of all, for those of you, okay, sir, calm down. Calm down. Third of all, if you saw the video on TMZ, then you all noticed they had the LA, I want to say it was LA Sheriffs, I don't forget who it was, but they had the Sheriff's Department out there. The Sheriff's Department was all over that place. If you take a look at the video on TMZ of CR and Russell Wilson getting into the car, there was 3 or 4 sheriffs standing around the car with their bulletproof vests on and every damn thing. So, Russell ain't that type of dude. Future, in reality, ain't that type of dude. For Drake, it ain't that kind of party. And the cops were there anyway, so no, it was never in danger of being something like that. Because if that's the kind of guy that Russell was, he's done had, 3 or 4 years to do that with Future. And not on no party stuff either. So if Russell was really built like that, why hasn't he done something in the last 3 or 4 years? If that's really who he is.
That situation, I see that like he was diffusing the situation. Let's get out of here because he got NFL players. He know people, so he know. I mean, he knows people.
Okay, let's be very, very clear. Why would another NFL player get into a fight with your baby mama's baby daddy? Why?
For the shield. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, because they
okay.
in the
Thank
NFL,
you. All right, sir. No, sir. It's the NFL. It is not. It's not a fraternity. It really, really isn't. It really is.
Oh, I thought maybe like even though he's on another team, the NFL players be like, hey, we ain't gonna let Future disrespect this man and his wife on the stage. I can see them doing that. Like, hell no.
Are we talking about the same NFL where dudes be laying up with folks' mamas? We talking about the same one? We talking about the same NFL where they be stealing each other's wives and girlfriends? Is that the NFL you're talking about, or is this another NFL? This the national fluoride league?
I mean, I thought maybe they had some kind of. I don't know what they. I thought they had some kind of camaraderie.
Well, I don't know where you picked up that idea. How old are you, brother?
I'm 40.
Okay,
48.
brother, you're as old as me. I don't know where in the hell you picked that up, but all right, man.
They were like banging together. If he was to diss him and his wife on stage, if he was to say something about his wife, I was picturing something like that's why he wanted to get out. Like, I don't want this shit to turn into something that ain't. I thought the NFL dudes would stick up for.
Well,
for Russ.
you're thinking of a different NFL than the rest of us have been watching. But thank you for your call here. And yeah, you've been watching a whole different NFL than the rest of us. Yeah. Whole different. What does he think? It's the Napkins and Forks League? Everybody be on your etiquette? Man, come on. You can't even tell me the last time something like that happened. You can't even tell us when the last time something like that happened. Let me get called from area code 707. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Jason? My name is Devon. I'm calling from Taunton, Mass.
Okay, Devon calling from where?
And Taunton, Massachusetts.
All right, from Taunton, Massachusetts. What's on your mind?
Rhode Island, but I work in Mass. What was that, sir?
What's on your mind?
Oh, okay, so yeah, I was listening to you speak about the whole Russell and Future situation. When I first seen the video on TMZ, I didn't think much of it. I just thought like maybe, Russell doesn't seem like he's the type of guy that even likes, like Future's music anyway. I would more see him being compatible with Drake because Drake sings more for the ladies and, like the emotional music. Future's always, rapping about like sleeping with different females and, I just hit your girl in Gucci flip-flops. So like, Russ definitely doesn't seem like the type of guy that would be like into like Future's music. But like, if you was in Russell's shoes, would you have stayed?
I've already answered that. I've already answered that. Yes, sir. I've already answered that. Yes. There's no way in the world I'm going to come eyeball to eyeball. And it didn't even come that far, by the way. Future's way up there on stage. We don't even know where Russell and Ciara was. It wasn't like they had, front row seats because it wasn't seats, by the way. But no,
Yeah.
if I was invited there, how in the hell am I going to leave just because somebody showed up? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why on earth would I be
True.
leaving? Why? I was there before he
Yeah.
was. How the hell is it he shows up 30 minutes or an hour after I get there and I'm the one who has to leave? Why do I have to leave?
Yeah.
I was invited here like everybody else. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
that's-
no, bro. I wouldn't give a damn about that. He can do whatever he does. It better be over there. Because my point is, it doesn't matter whether it's a party, a supermarket, a softball game. Bruh, here's the way the world works. At some point, dude, if you're men who travel, we gonna meet up somewhere. Eventually, that's gonna happen.
Yep.
Somewhere, I'm gonna
Yep.
see you somewhere. Eventually, we are going to
Yes,
meet
that's
up
right.
and we are gonna run into each other again. So I'm just like, okay, what are you gonna do? Spend the rest of your life running? I'm not running from anybody. Furthermore, this is not a situation to be running from. He gets up there on stage, he does a little ditty
Exactly.
bop. Okay, I'm sitting on the phone, I'm texting, I'm Facebooking. I'm not sitting there bopping to his song. I'm not doing that. And
Facts.
my woman damn sure ain't gonna be doing it. But I'm not sitting there doing that. But I'm not gonna sit up here and have this fella establish dominance. He got me running out the damn venue, and ain't nobody shooting.
Yeah.
He got me running out the venue and nobody's busting no
I
caps. No. He can leave. He can leave. He can leave, but not me.
True. And that's the thing. I feel like Russell's a boss in his own right. Like, you a boss just as much as Future. You know, you were face of a multi-billion-dollar organization in the NFL. Like, you're one of the top quarterbacks. Like, you know, I see where you're coming from, Jason. Definitely see where you're coming from.
I mean, he doesn't have to say two words to that man. That's not the point of it. The point is, as adults here, what you're saying is that whenever Future shows up somewhere, you're gonna run and leave. I would never want to host an event with Russell and Ciara, knowing that if Future shows up, those two are prone to just cut and run. How could I ever confidently host an event with the two of them? I'm like, okay, really? That's what and it's not like Future did anything. It's not like he's messing with anybody. He's up there on stage. He's doing his thing. Okay, fine. It's not like they showed up at the damn Thanksgiving party at Ciara's parents' house. It's not like they showed up at the damn Christmas. It's not like Future showed up at the Christmas party at the school. It's not like that occurred. Now, it's one thing if it's that kind of situation where it's, okay, this is in my house. Okay, I can't make the nigga not show up at Drake's concert, but he ain't showing up at my house. You're not going to do that. But this is a whole different thing. So it's like, how do you handle those things? That's just silly. That is just silly. For example, let's just reverse it. If Russell Wilson's ex-wife had showed up on that stage, do he and Ciara still leave?
Man, I don't know. I don't think Ciara would be intimidated by his ex-wife.
Okay, but there's my
Like
point. Well,
the way
here's
he
the
might
problem.
be
We don't
feeling
know. We don't know who it was who prompted them to leave. We don't know if it was Ciara who said, "Hey, baby, let's go." We don't know if it was Russell who said, "I'm the hell out of here." We don't know that. But what my point is, if that had been Russell Wilson's ex-wife who was up there on the stage, diddy bopping or whatever, would you still expect? Would you still assume? Well, Russell and Ciara will be leaving soon. They don't have to stay here for this. I don't think anybody would have expected that to be the reaction.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Jason, can I ask you one question before I go? Do you do like consultations? Like, do you have to sign up for the Patreon? Like, I just want to know, like you know, because I would like to, you know, get some advice from you. Like, you know,
well, it's helpful if you do. Like I say, it's helpful if you do. I do my patrons once a week here, so definitely it's a good idea to go ahead and sign up for that if you haven't done so. So I would advise you to do that, so that way you can. I have more time to dedicate to individual questions than I do here.
Perfect. Thank you, boss.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 920. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason, man, this is Mike from Cincinnati.
Mike from Cincinnati. What's on your mind? Congratulations on the championship.
Brother, Yeah, we took the L, man. You know what I mean? I actually was with Tariq.
Oh, y'all didn't
You
win?
know what I'm saying? When we was out there in L.A.
Okay, I'm totally clueless about these things. Y'all didn't win? All right. I heard they were in the Super Bowl.
Nah, we
nice.
lost.
Okay, I didn't get any results. I'm like, okay, I'm hoping you won. Oh, you didn't? Oh, this is awkward. Okay, well, anyway, moving right along. What do you want to ask me? We need to do a quick subject change.
Hey, man. So, nah. So
First of all, I don't know what that old brother was talking about. That I'm a Christian and I'm in the league. Ain't no niggas finna risk themselves for somebody else's mess, bro. I mean, if I'm out there, yo, come fight my baby. Nah, nigga, no, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. So I don't know what he was talking about, man. This ain't the we all holy saints and holding each other's hands and hugging and kissing. It don't go down like that. So I'm clearing that up for everybody. You know what I mean? I've been in the league a long time. So I just had to clear that up for the people, first and foremost.
Okay, Mike, you say you're in the league. Who you play for?
Cincinnati.
Okay, what was your name again?
Mike Daniels.
Okay, Mike Daniels. What position you play?
Defensive tackle.
Okay, Mike Daniels, defensive tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. Forgive me, I'm not a big football fan, so I'll just have to take your word for it. People are probably going to be later like, oh, Jason, you really screwed up. So Mike Daniels for the Cincinnati Bengals here. Let me find out something else. If you were at that event, and I'm sure you've been to a number of them, if you were at an event like that and your girlfriend's, because I don't know your situation, but if you had a baby mama or just her ex, and he's popping up on stage, he's an entertainer or whatever, how do you respond in that situation?
I mean, we're going to stay and keep partying. You know, I'm married. You know, I'm married with me and Mark got a lot of kids, but I'm staying at that party. I'm not running from nothing, man. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's your ex. That's cool. I do what I do. We're going to enjoy the night. Just because he showed up, that don't end my night.
How do you feel about the fact that they left like that? Well, let me find out from you. In your experience, in your opinion, I shouldn't say experience, but in your opinion, and I know it's speculative, but do your best. In your opinion, who do you think requested to leave, Ciara or Russell?
I'm gonna be real. I think Ciara did, and I know them. I know them personally. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'll be careful what I say, obviously. But I think she might have requested it because I think in any situation, the woman's gonna feel less comfortable, regardless. Like I know if that was our situation, my wife would be like, "Yo, man, look, I don't feel good." And that's where I'm supposed to step in and be like, "Nah, baby, we good. We good. He performing. That's what he's a performer. At the end of the day, he's performing for the Super Bowl. He's performing for the sport that I play. If it wasn't for the Super Bowl, he ain't out here performing."
That was the kind of thing I took a look at there. I'm just saying as a man, I just feel like the optics of that are bad. That you walk into a room, and I just feel like from a dominance perspective, and you do this for a living, from a dominance perspective, how is it that you walk in the room and then you let another man, he just walks in and he's not even, it's not like it's a small room. It's an auditorium or a club or whatever. And he's 50, 75 feet away and you're intimidated by that. You know, it's just, and is this the way the rest of your life is going to be? That whenever he shows up anywhere, you and your family got to leave. You know, is this the way it's going to be?
Nah, and that's why I don't think it was more so that. I was thinking he was really honoring his wife's wishes, you know. And when I look at that too, this ain't the first time. Like I remember we played them one time, and you know I do some troll things like I play defense tackle. I got to go tackle him, right? So I'm like, yo, I need to get in people's heads. I was voted one of the biggest trash talkers in the league. So I'm like, yo, play some Future during pregame warmups. Play some Future. You know what I mean? And I've known other teams to do that too. Now, once again, that's only for the sense of competing because I like the dude. You know what I mean? He's a good, solid dude. You know what I'm saying? He's just who he is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, anything I could do to mess with my opponent, do that. So the point I'm making is I'm not the only team who's done that. You can imagine his hated rivals have done that. You know, like people have tried to put the whole Future thing in his face before, so there ain't nothing new to him. He's heard all the talks and all the laughing and the jokes and all that from guys in the locker room and things like that. Like that's nothing. That's nothing. That's why I think it was more so of an uncomfortability thing, and he was just honoring his wife.
Okay, well, I don't want to get you in trouble about that, but in my opinion, just
right.
I don't think it's a good sign that after all this time, to me, I would have felt a lot better if it's my woman. Future shows up and it's like, okay, at this point, you should be indifferent. Now, you don't have to comment. This is me talking, but at this point, you should be indifferent about that. After all this time, because that's what I'm saying, okay, he's never going to stop being your child's father. And even after your child is grown, Future ain't going to drop dead. I mean, I don't know how much lean he's doing, but he's not going to drop dead. So it's just, what's the game plan? He's not going to float off the earth. You're going to have to coexist. So it's just the game plan is just every time he shows up, you freak out every time that happens. Because at that point right there, now what you're telling a man is that this man has permanent real estate reserved in your head for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. One last thing before I let you go, brother, because I don't want to take up all your time. I've been wanting to call for a long time now. I've been following the Black Authority. I follow the real New Black Media, man. I've been turning guys on to you guys, man. I've actually convinced some civil rights Negroes, a.k.a. my dad, and many others. So thank you for your information. He said if it wasn't for your broadcast, he wouldn't have voted. You know what I mean? If he would have known about it earlier. But anyway, my thing is, I learned about this channel. It's like, I'm an NFL player. I've been playing for a long time now, a decade. And I want to know, how does an NFL player truly turn himself into a producer, right? Truly turn himself into, I don't want to use the terms, sophomorically, but like a high value or peak value man. Because just because your money, and I'm learning this from you, just because your money's long don't mean that, like you're really the alpha. Okay,
I'm very glad you asked that. The real issue is, here's the difference that those of us, and I'm going to speak in, military type terms. I won't say gang terms, but those of us who are civilians versus those of you who are on the inside, the difference that we notice here is that we start looking at what do you own. Because if your biggest asset is I show up every Sunday, we're like, you're one ACL injury away from that ending right then. So it's like, it can't be production if you don't own it. It can't be production if there's not an asset that continues to turn over. So there's the real differences. So many of you, and like I say, it's a fluke of genetics. I don't know how tall you are, whatever. Obviously, you're a professional athlete. So you've had flukes of genetics that have allowed you to be able to engage in the career you're in. And that's not the problem that we have. The problem that we have is, it's like, okay, this is transient. I think the average lifespan of the NFL player is like 5 years. So if you've exceeded that, you're well beyond the averages of it, especially if you made a good living for your family. So the real issue is, okay, I'm making money, but do I have assets? What do I own? What do I control? And what am I passing down? So, I mean, if you really want a great template, take a look at Shaq. If you really want a great template, take a look at LeBron. Even with, or Jay-Z, take a look at the agenting. So the real thing is, okay, you got this NFL, you got this celebrity, you got this name, you have all these connections. Are you leveraging them for assets, intellectual properties, physical properties, partnerships, things that you will own that transcend what you do for a living? Now, for me, for example, like I say, I could have been a professional athlete. I got the build for it. I just never wanted to be, but I was a book nerd. Okay, I went that direction. So I started learning about finance and how it works, but more importantly, just the basic skill of how do I sit down and creatively figure out how to transform $1 into $2. That's the basic thing I tell everybody. If you really want to know the nuts and bolts of it, how do you transform $1 that's in your hand into $2? Donald Trump's The Apprentice was a fantastic microcosm of how that works. So generally speaking, that would be the real difference is, do you actually have assets that transcend what you do for a living? That would be the thing. Now, as far as what that would be, that's where it becomes, okay, we have to get into a whole bunch of different other questions for that. But that's really going to be the separation line. Because generally what happens is when you all lose your ability to play, the train stops. And you can't be a producer if one thing happens and the train stops. By definition, you can't be.
Yo, I appreciate that, man. Listen, I don't know what the email is or whatever, but I definitely want to continue this conversation. I don't know if I could get it from Tarika, however I can get it to you or whatever. But I definitely want to continue this conversation because I want to keep getting as much game as I can. Because I want to pass that down to the young generations. Like, I always tell these young dudes, listen, man, have your fun. I'm not telling you not to go get a couple of nigga trinkets. I got some Cuban links myself. You know what I mean? But at the same time, take time to get to leverage your position, right? You go to these places where these people want to spend top dollar just to sign your autograph, just to shake your hand. Get to know them, get to pick up some game.
Don't walk away from this experience not learning nothing. I would tell guys, yo, you went through college at minimum 3 years before you got drafted, right? How do you still have all your nigga connects back home, but you don't got none of your no connects from your college? You know what I'm saying? How come you ain't learned nothing from being out of your environment? You've been away from home for 3 years. You'll probably visit twice a year, right, in those 3 years, and that's minimum. But yet you still a nigga when you get to the NFL. And now everybody wonder why you broke. So it's like I really want to make sure I can learn as much game as I can so I can pass it on. So I definitely would like to continue this conversation.
Okay, well, I've got your information. I'll be in touch with you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Thank you very much, sir. Like I say, I certainly hope I wasn't being trolled about it, but we'll just take it at face value. I think that's an excellent note to end tonight's program on here tonight. Like I say, definitely be watchful, be watchful. Stand on your square. Don't move. Don't change about that. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay stable. It's going to be greater. That's the most important thing to keep in mind here. This concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.